Winning evokes a certain imagery: standing on a podium, basking in applause, clutching a trophy that gleams under the spotlight. It's a concept that seems so clear, so tangible, yet when you try to define it, it begins to blur. What does it really mean to win? Is it about being better than someone else, achieving a particular goal, or proving something to yourself? And if so, why do these things hold such sway over us? The allure of winning often lies in the stories we tell ourselves about success. From a young age, we're taught to view life as a series of contests, each with its own rewards and penalties. But this narrative can obscure the deeper truth. The prizes we seek are often symbols, representations of something intangible, like recognition, worth, or a fleeting sense of superiority. And yet, even when we attain them, we find that the feeling doesn't last. The victory we imagine rarely satisfies as deeply as we hoped. Perhaps the most curious aspect of winning is how it binds us to the need for comparison. To win, there must be someone who doesn't. We define ourselves not by who we are, but by who we are relative to others. This creates a subtle but persistent tension, as though our value could be diminished by someone else's success. And yet life itself doesn't compare. A sunrise doesn't outshine a sunset, each is complete in its own way. Winning, as we commonly conceive it, is a construct. It's not an inherent truth, but a lens through which we choose to view the world. And while it can inspire effort and determination, it can just as easily confine us, turning life into a series of checkboxes and finish lines rather than an open landscape to explore. To understand the nature of winning is to begin to question its power over us, and to see that its true essence may lie not in the conquest, but in the perspective we bring to the journey. When we speak of winning, we often focus so intently on the act itself that we rarely pause to consider what it is we are truly striving for. What lies at the heart of this desire to win? Is it the satisfaction of reaching a goal, the admiration of others, or perhaps the fleeting thrill of accomplishment? And once that moment is achieved, what happens next? Life seems to be a continuous cycle of chasing one goal after another, as if each victory will finally bring the contentment we seek. But more often than not, the feeling of triumph is temporary. The moment passes, and we find ourselves setting new targets, caught once again in the pursuit. It's as though we've placed our happiness on a distant horizon, always a step away, always tied to the next conquest. This endless striving begs the question, are we truly pursuing what we want, or are we caught in a pattern of wanting for its own sake? It's easy to become so absorbed in the race that we forget to examine the value of the finish line. Will achieving this goal make us whole? Or are we chasing an illusion, something that promises fulfillment but delivers only a fleeting sense of completion? When we question the goal, we also question our motivations. Are they born of genuine passion and curiosity, or are they shaped by external pressures, expectations from society, from peers, or from ourselves? The idea of winning often carries an implicit promise of validation, but whose validation are we seeking, and why do we feel the need for it? To ask these questions is not to diminish the importance of goals, but to understand their deeper significance. It invites us to shift our focus from the end result to the process itself, to find meaning not in the act of winning, but in the act of living. By questioning the goal, we open ourselves to the possibility that what we are truly seeking may already be within our reach, hidden in the moments we so often overlook while chasing something else. Winning, for all its allure, often pulls us into an endless cycle, a pattern of striving, achieving, and then striving again. At first glance, each victory seems like an endpoint, a place where we can rest and bask in the glow of accomplishment. But more often than not, it doesn't feel like an ending at all. Instead, it feels like a stepping stone to something else, another challenge, another race, another summit to climb. The cycle begins subtly. We achieve one goal, and for a moment there's a sense of satisfaction. But almost immediately, the mind starts asking, what's next? It's as if we've been conditioned to see achievements not as destinations, but as prerequisites for further effort. The prize we worked so hard to attain quickly loses its luster, and we find ourselves setting new goals, seeking new victories, chasing yet another horizon. This cycle can be intoxicating. The pursuit of winning brings a rush of energy and focus, and each small triumph offers a temporary high. But it can also be exhausting. The constant push for more creates a sense of restlessness, as though we can never fully relax, never truly arrive. Instead of finding peace in our successes, we become trapped by the need to keep achieving, as if our worth depends on it. At its core, this endless cycle is driven by the belief that fulfillment lies just around the corner, that happiness is something to be earned through effort and accomplishment. But the more we chase it, the more elusive it becomes. The problem is not the goals themselves, but the way we relate to them, seeing them as the source of our value rather than as expressions of our passions and interests. Caught in this loop, it's easy to forget that life itself is not a race to be won. The true richness of existence isn't found in a checklist of achievements, but in the simple, unmeasured moments we so often overlook. The cycle of striving only continues if we allow it to, fueled by the illusion that more is always better. Yet the power to step off the wheel lies within us, waiting for the moment we realize that we don't have to chase what's already here. Life itself operates in ways that transcend our notions of winning and losing. Nature doesn't compete in the way we humans do. It flows, grows, and exists in harmony with itself. A tree doesn't grow taller than its neighbors to prove something, nor does a river rush to the sea to claim victory. They follow their natural course, each fulfilling its purpose without striving to outdo another. This perspective is a profound contrast to the way we often view life. We measure ourselves against others, defining success through comparison, always looking to be faster, smarter, or more accomplished. But life, in its essence, has no such yardsticks. A sunrise is no less beautiful than a sunset. A gentle breeze carries as much meaning as a fierce storm. Each moment, each phenomenon, is complete in itself, without needing to be better or more significant than the one before. When we align our view of life with this natural flow, we begin to see that the idea of winning is an artificial construct. The earth turns, the seasons change, and the stars shine without seeking approval or validation. There's a quiet wisdom in this rhythm, a reminder that life's value isn't found in striving but in being. This shift in perspective allows us to release the burden of constant comparison and competition. It invites us to appreciate the uniqueness of our own path, just as we might admire the distinct shapes of clouds or the varying melodies of birdsong. Each life, like each element of nature, has its place and its purpose, unburdened by the need to prove itself. When we step back and see life this way, we realize how much time we spend resisting its natural flow, trying to force outcomes or control circumstances. Yet, the river doesn't fight against the rocks in its path, it simply flows around them, carving its way with patience and grace. In the same way, we can learn to move with life, rather than against it, embracing its unpredictability and trusting its wisdom. Life's perspective is not about looking down from a mountaintop or standing apart from others. It's about seeing the interconnectedness of all things, recognizing that our individual journeys are part of a larger whole. In this understanding, there is no need to win, because life itself is already enough, just as it is. The desire to win often comes with a cost that is not always immediately apparent. Struggle, while sometimes seen as noble or necessary, can quietly consume us, turning the pursuit of success into a heavy burden. In the effort to achieve, we push ourselves often beyond healthy limits, believing that the end goal will make the struggle worthwhile. But what do we lose in the process? Struggle demands energy, time, and focus, often pulling us away from the present moment. We become so fixated on overcoming obstacles and reaching the finish line that we miss the beauty of the journey itself. The simple pleasures of life, the laughter of a friend, the warmth of sunlight, the stillness of a quiet morning fade into the background, overshadowed by the drive to accomplish. There is also an emotional cost to struggle. The constant pressure to succeed can breed anxiety and self-doubt, as we measure our worth by how well we perform or how much we achieve. When we view struggle as the only path to victory, we create a narrative where failure is not just a setback but a reflection of our inadequacy. This can lead to a cycle of guilt and frustration, where we push even harder, chasing a sense of worthiness that always seems just out of reach. Struggle also narrows our vision. When we are locked in a battle to win, we often lose sight of other possibilities, other paths that might bring just as much, if not more, fulfillment. The world becomes divided into challenges to overcome and prizes to claim, and we miss the richness of simply being present, of exploring life without an agenda. Perhaps the greatest cost of struggle is that it reinforces the illusion that life is something to conquer. We begin to see ourselves as separate from the flow of existence, pitting ourselves against the world rather than moving with it. This mindset creates tension, as though we are constantly swimming upstream, fighting a current that could carry us if only we let it. Struggle, of course, has its place. It can teach us resilience and determination, and it often shapes our growth. But when struggle becomes our default way of being, we risk losing touch with the ease and spontaneity that make life truly fulfilling. The cost of struggle is not just in what it takes from us, but in what it prevents us from seeing the quiet joy, the unexpected grace, the freedom that comes when we let go. When we strive to win, it often seems as though we are chasing something tangible, a goal, a prize, or an achievement. Yet beneath these surface pursuits lies something deeper, something subtler, a true desire that drives us forward. What is it really that we seek when we say we want to win? For many, it's not the victory itself, but the feelings we associate with it: fulfillment, happiness, validation, or a sense of belonging. The trophy on the shelf or the title on the resume is just a symbol, a representation of something much more profound. What we truly desire is often less about the external accomplishment and more about the internal experience it promises to bring. But this is where the challenge arises. We often believe that these feelings can only be accessed through external means. We think happiness lies on the other side of achievement, that validation must come from others, and that fulfillment is something to be earned. In reality, these desires are already within us, waiting to be discovered not through winning, but through a deeper understanding of ourselves. True desire is not about accumulation or conquest. It's about connection to ourselves, to others, and to the world around us. We may chase success because we believe it will make us feel worthy, yet worthiness is not something that can be granted by an external source. It is a truth we uncover when we stop measuring ourselves against others and begin to embrace our inherent value. Often our desires are shaped by societal expectations. We pursue what we've been told we should want, rather than what genuinely resonates with our spirit. But when we pause to question these inherited narratives, we can begin to untangle our true desires from those imposed upon us. This process requires honesty and courage, as it challenges us to look beyond the surface and ask what truly brings us joy, peace, and meaning. At its core, true desire is not about chasing what we lack, but about recognizing what we already have. It's about realizing that the feelings we seek through external victories, freedom, love, purpose, are states of being that can be cultivated here and now. When we align with our true desires, we stop running after illusions and start living with intention. This shift transforms the way we approach life. Goals become expressions of our passions rather than measures of our worth. Achievements are celebrated, but they are no longer the sole focus. True desire invites us to live authentically, to follow what lights us up, and to trust that we are enough, with or without the accolades. In this way, it frees us from the endless chase and brings us back to the simple, profound truth of being alive. When we strip away the layers of competition, comparison, and the constant pursuit of external validation, we begin to see that life is not about winning in the traditional sense. True success is not found in conquering others or achieving the next milestone. It is found in embracing the present moment, connecting with our authentic selves, and appreciating the beauty in simply being. Victory is not something to be earned or attained, but something we already possess within us. It is the recognition that fulfillment is not something to chase, but something to experience in every step of the journey. As we move beyond the confines of competition, we open ourselves to a deeper understanding of life, one where our worth is not measured by how we compare, but by the richness of our own experience. True freedom comes not from defeating others, but from stepping off the endless cycle of striving and finding peace in the knowledge that we are enough just as we are. In the end, the greatest victory is the ability to live fully, authentically, and harmoniously with the world around us.